Hey everybody, Joanna here. So today's Monday, the 22nd, I want to say, or the 24th, one of the two. Um, but it is the last full week of February, and I just today filmed and uploaded the unboxing of my snow dust proof copy. So naturally, I've got all the snow dust vibes going. I feel very excited. I have a lot of videos that I want to do for snow dust in the coming months of March and April. Excuse me, preparing for its release. But I don't actually have time to work on anything snow dust related this week because I have another project that needs my attention that is also on deadline. So the number one problem with working on multiple projects, even if I'm not really working on them at the same time, is that if I get really excited for one project, I still have to meet deadlines on the other one. And right now I need to be working on Littlehead, which is the other middle grade fairy tale retelling that I'm going to be publishing, fingers crossed, at the end of the year. I already have a professional edit lined up for it in the fall. I already have a cover design registered for it in the fall or in the spring. So I've got all those things lined up, but I have to actually write it. And I was supposed to have already started drafting it in February, but if you've seen anything about my personal life, whether on Instagram or here on YouTube, I am currently pregnant, and I just got out of the first trimester. So for January and February, I felt like jello, that I felt horrible both months. So I got very little done on Littlehood, but there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is I am actually starting to feel better. I'm getting that second trimester burst of energy. I'm starting to feel better just in general. The nausea's gone, the energy's back. I'm feeling good. But the bad news is I now have a head cold. Perfect timing. I have a wisdom tooth that's trying to come in, and it's just wreaking havoc on my sinuses, so that's why I sound horrible. So today has not been a great day. Physically, I've had some headache issues and just ongoing sinus issues. I'm having trouble talking. But onwards we must press, because this is the last week before March starts. On March 2nd, I think it's March 2nd, I have to start drafting whether I want to or not, and so I have to be ready. I'm in a good place in my outline. I'm about halfway through the next to last outline. I have a final outline that will be very much like a scene by scene, action by action type outline, where I'm giving myself as many details as possible so that when I do sit down to write, it will go by much quicker. So I'm halfway through the one prior to that. So if I could finish Act 2 of that other outline tonight, which I think I should be able to do, and then finish Act 3 tomorrow night, I can spend the last few days of the week just working on that last outline, and then hopefully I should be ready to start drafting on Monday. So I'm going to take you guys with me for a writing vlog, since I won't be able to film anything else because I won't have time. Yeah, let's get to writing, let's get to outlining, let's get to all the fun stuff for Littlehead. Okay, everybody, so I got it all finished. I did it. I made it to the end of Act 2. There are one or two pieces that I think probably could be expanded on more, but I spent the first half hour to 45 minutes working on one scene, which was amazing. I needed to do that because that scene kind of revealed the logistics of some very important backstory, as well as the how of what takes place in the climax. So without that scene, which I didn't have in the zero draft, which is probably why the climax was so hard to write, without that scene in place and without all of that detail being figured out, I would not know where to go in the climax. So that's done. It is now very late. I am going to go ahead and start editing this video because I have this really bad habit of like taking videos of vlogs and then just not putting them together. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then do some reading and then head to bed. And hopefully tomorrow I will sound less disgusting. Good night, all. Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday, and I haven't been filming because I have not felt very good. And I haven't gotten on here just because I haven't really been able to talk very well. The cold, while still in my head, has now moved to my chest as well, so talking is a little bit difficult. But I'm right in the middle of Act 3 right now. I'm about to head into the official climax scene, which is a high-intensity action scene. So, yeah, that's gonna be fun. I'm finding out more and more of like how things are getting set up for the climax scene, because when I did the zero draft, basically I have an 11-year-old girl going toe-to-toe against this great monster of antiquity. This ancient evil magic monster, and I didn't know how to get her to where he was and have it make sense. And since I've gone back through and changed so much of how everything goes down, I had to figure out how to get her there again. And again, to make it make sense. I'm sorry, it sounds so horrible. So the good news is I think I figured it out. I think I figured out all the loopholes and all the things, at least for this round. So I'm gonna get back in there and finish up. Part of the reason I haven't been filming tonight either is that my girls, my youngest we're in the middle of big bed training right now. She's moving from her crib to the bottom bunk. And she's ready. She's very ready, but we're still in the process of training to stay in bed. So like I'll sit down for 10 minutes and then have to go put her back in bed, and then sit down for 10 minutes and then have to go put her back in bed. So it's kind of frustrating to try and film in the middle of that. But I will for sure update you again, but at the end of the night and let you know what else is happening and how the resolution goes through. I'm excited for the climax. I think it's going to be a really amazing scene. And again, some of the stuff that got set up earlier in Act 2, in the second half of Act 2, that hadn't been explained before, helps the climax to make so much more sense. We actually understand now why things are going down and how they work. So that, again, just makes sense because it wasn't logical before the way it was set up. Which is why, folks, we never publish our first draft. You can always tell what kind of a day I've had by the hair. I find it. Okay, I finished. Yay! The climax is very detailed. I think that the bullet pointing will help, but I may leave some of it up to the moment when it comes to writing. But I definitely left the last three scenes? The last two scenes. Very much up to the pantser in me. I kind of did that on purpose, though, because as I was sitting there reading them, like the very bare minimum that I had put down before, I just kind of realized I don't know exactly what the story is going to look like in those last few scenes. And I think I want to wait, because the very last scene of the book is like the final image of the story. It's supposed to be a polar opposite to the beginning of the story. And then the scene right before that is kind of like where the lesser important villains are kind of taken care of and everything starts to get back to normal a little bit, or begin a new normal rather. And so I'm kind of wanting to leave that up to once I have written the book and I've actually gotten inside the characters' heads better and I know better what's going on, so that I know what the rounding off of the arcs need to be, because it's also where we kind of figure out, what the characters have learned, how they've changed, what their new plan is going forward as they establish their needs, as opposed to before they were just going off of their wants. So all of that I think will be easier to write and figure out once I have actually written the book and figured out what all those things are. So I'm done for the night, but hopefully tomorrow night I will feel better and look better and sound better and just be able to get more footage. But yeah, it's coming along really, really well. So I start back over at the very beginning tomorrow with bullet pointing. Let's see how it goes. Night, y'all. Better. Hi, everybody. It is Wednesday, February 26th, and I am feeling so much better, if you couldn't tell. I'm actually on my third or fourth wind of the day. I had a second wind right after lunch, and I was able to skip the nap for the day, which meant that I got some real me time. I was able to spend some time just reading and studying the Bible and just praying and meditating and just soaking my soul. And then I actually did a small workout with Trudy, which was mostly just stretches, but even the stretches really helped me to feel better. And then I got a nice long shower, washed my hair all great, and took the time to put on a full face of makeup, which I'm a little bit ticked. The bronzer that I'm using I think is just too dark because I don't like how it turned out. I think I'm gonna have to get a different bronzer, but the eyes are exciting. I feel like a peacock today. But yeah, so all that to say, I am getting started now as I wait for the meat to marinate on outlining. And it does sound like there's some child stuff going on out there, but I will be sitting in the kitchen today working, so I'll be able to keep a close eye on them, and they have been doing really well playing together, my two girls today, other than, the occasional spat, but they've been doing really well. So I am going to go and enjoy this first day in the longest time when I actually feel like myself. Yeah, just come along with me. I'll let you know how it goes. Tell me what you guys are doing. What are you making, Kaylin? Okay. What are you making, Trudy?
A bed for Belle.
Oh, a bed. So you're making the bed and Kaylin's making... You're making a bed too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like fun. For probably about half an hour to 45 minutes, and I have only gotten the first scene done, but I have also figured out how I want the outline to be laid out, so that I'm getting as much information in every portion of the outline as possible, so that I am reminded at the beginning of every scene, this is the emotion that needs to be conveyed. You need a tissue? Go to the bathroom and grab one, quick, quick, quick. Where was I? So let me just show you. It is now time to get started on supper, so I'm going to have to take a break for now. I'll come back to it later. But let me just show you real quickly how I'm going through this. This is the opening scene, so I don't think there should be any spoilers or anything in it. But I just want to show you how I'm going through the outline. Okay, and I'm sorry, it is on a computer screen, so it's not going to be, like, really great. Okay, so I have my wonderful little heading there because I just like that kind of organization. But I have at the start, of course, we start off with the act. So each grouping is going to be underneath the act. And then I start off with what type of scene the scene is. So this is the opening image / hook. And then the purpose of the scene. So this has more to do with what kind of plot point we're dealing with than what the actual, like, what's happening in the scene. As you can see from this, the purpose for the opening image / hook for this plot beat is to reveal where Blanche is before her life gets shaken up, and that would be shaken up by the catalyst. To establish the tone, style, and mood for the rest of the book, what kind of journey the reader is about to go on, and who it is they'll be going with. Basically, a visual representation of the hero's flawed life. And you can see here that we're establishing the strengths and weaknesses of the character. So what needs to change about her before she can be the hero that we all want her to be? What makes us like her in spite of those flaws? Why are we rooting for her to be the hero? And then also to establish her current situation, why she's unhappy with it, and what she wants to change about it. So if I have that kind of as the starting point, then I will open that up at the beginning when I first start writing the first chapter, and I'll get kind of all of that information and be able to fit it in through the actual happenings of the scene. Then in the non-bold section, I have... so that's kind of what I have, and then I have, of course, the opening scene detailed what actually happens and some of the emotions that go into it. So that's what the outline is going to look like. All right, well, I'm headed off to make dinner. I will let you guys know when I get started back up how it's going. Hey, everybody. Well, it is now almost 11, but I wanted to check back in with you guys real quickly and let you guys know that I did finish Act 1 of the bullet pointing portion of the outline. I am very excited. After I wrote up the scene that you guys saw the footage of, some life stuff happened, you know, wonderful being an adult and all that stuff, but it kind of took away my spark for a while. But honestly, getting back into the writing and the outlining and the bullet pointing, that kind of helped to get me back feeling good again. And I think honestly that's part of what writing always is for me, is it's maybe an escape, but it's also something that is productive, that helps me to see an end result, and that kind of helps to get my mind going, which then, you know, gets the happy feelings going. And it kind of helps me to put perspective on things, because some of the feelings that I was having this evening leading up to that bullet pointing session were a lot of the same things that Blanche, my main character, is feeling at the opening of the novel. Very frustrated, feeling stuck, feeling like just the same horrible cycles going on, and there's no way to get out of it kind of feeling. I wasn't feeling nearly as desperate as that main character is, obviously. Like, it wasn't this bad. I have life way better than her. But I chose in the moment to channel those frustrated, angry, just sick of life feelings into the outline, and I think it really helped. I ended up shortening the outline, same or similar amount of scenes that I had originally, but I felt like they really weren't doing the very best that they could. Like, we were taking too long timeline wise to get to the catalyst and to get into Act 2, and this way, the way that I have them right now, it feels a lot more cohesive. It feels a lot more like every scene isn't as disjointed. There's a lot more flow, and it does also feel like we're moving a little bit slower through the timeline, so things aren't happening at like complete rapid pace, which is very important. So I will check. Blah, 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 blah. It is that time of night, folks. My words have left me. I will check in with you guys tomorrow and let you know when I get started in on Act 2. No idea what I'm doing tomorrow, but for now, I'm just gonna go wash all this off my face, and get changed, and I don't know, maybe do some reading, maybe some exercise. I don't know, just something to do at the end of the night to kind of help me to fall asleep. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye. Hey everybody, it is Thursday now, and I won't be writing for a little while, but I just wanted to hop on here as this is a chronicling of my self-publishing journey and just say, I feel a little bit like a cat chasing a red laser. Like, there's something there, but I can't get it. I just purchased ISBNs for Snow Dust, which I'm very grateful we had the money. We were actually able to use some of our tax return money for that, which I think was amazing. Very, very thankful for that. And I have the ebook and the paperback ISBNs pending. I have them, they're about ready to be assigned a title, and then I think after that I can put them on the official like documents for the books through Amazon and KDP, or they're the same thing. The KDP and then the actual Kindle thing. Because that's kind of what I'm limiting myself to right now until I can learn more about this stuff. But I tried looking up how to get a Library of Congress number, because you kind of have to have one of those to get them in stores and to get your book in libraries, and I really wanted to just have the option to do that. And so people kind of just mentioned that along with ISBNs, like, it's no big deal. I am so lost. I am calling in a favor from a friend to see if they can help me, but if they can't help me, I'm just gonna have to, I don't know, do like a distress call, an SOS to any self-published authors who can help me with it, because oh my gosh, I feel so completely lost. And I'm sure that it's just something I need to sit down and study, but I don't have time to sit down and study it right now because I gotta finish Littlehead. So, but it's okay. You know, it's part of this process. And once I learn it, it'll probably change again, but at least I'll know enough about it to maybe learn it all over again. So just a random publishing update. It's not easy, folks, but it will be worth it in the end. I am determined. Hello, everyone. It is now Friday, and yes, I have a lot of work to do today. Yesterday, I took as a break day. It was not intentional, but I ended up not getting the writing done in the afternoon that I wanted to get done. And by the time I got to evening, I was just like, you know what? I need a night with Micah. He and I hadn't gotten to spend a whole lot of time in the evenings together, which means that we didn't really get any time together because that's really the only time we get to see each other is at night. So, loving this eye look today. It's very, a little brighter, happier, softer than the blue. I think the blue was just very dark. I loved it, but I don't know. I like the softer looks too. Anywho, I do have to share something with you guys. I'm gonna go sit and write. It's a little after 3, but it is 3:17, and I'm about to go start writing again. But I wanted to tell you guys something first, which I thought was just really sweet. So every day, Trudy, that's my 5-year-old, and I, after lunch, after Kaylin goes down for her nap, she and I will sit down together on the couch and we'll read aloud. I will read aloud to her a chapter or two out of a children's book. We just finished the Boxcar Children, the old 1940s Boxcar Children book, which she enjoyed. I loved that book growing up as a kid, but I think it was really more designed to be read out loud by the child because it's very simple language, very repetitive language, a very fun story, but very simple language. And she really didn't get that into it. Like, she enjoyed it and she was glad we read. But she didn't seem to like it as much as I'd hoped that she would. So I was trying to figure out what to do for the next book because I wanted something maybe a little more exciting to kind of draw her out a little bit more because she does love reading with me so much. And so she asked, my Snow Dust, the proof copy of Snow Dust had just shown up, I think, the day before or something. And she was just so enamored with the pretty book that Mommy had written. And she wanted to say, Mommy, could we read Snow Dust together? I was like, it's a little bit older than you. It's like, no, Mommy, why don't we read Snow Dust with you? I was like, okay, so we'll read Snow Dust together. So we sat down, we started reading it, and the first chapter she was kind of interested, but she was very distracted. It was at night, and Kaylin was up, and Daddy was home. So it wasn't quite as, I was like, yeah, maybe she doesn't really like it that much. So I thought I would change up books. Well, today she asked for it specifically. So I was like, okay. So we sat down, and we read through 3 chapters because she kept asking for more. We got to the end. I was like, oh, can we do one more chapter, Mommy? So, and just watching her sit there, and my 5-year-old, and she was just so engrossed in the story and so invested in these characters and so just enamored with all of it. It was really heartwarming to see her be genuinely concerned when Kay is infected with the snow dust and be like really worried, or not worried, but like excited, kind of worried when we got to the part that she knew was coming where Kay gets kidnapped by the Snow Queen and then Gerda's gonna go after him, and she was just like, she was so there for it, and it was just so encouraging. It really warmed my heart, and I wanted to share that with you, especially as I'm fixing to sit down and plot another book for middle graders that I'm sure at some point she's gonna want me to read to her as well. So, yeah, that was my Snow Dust update for the day. Bleh. That was my Snow Dust update for the day, and now I'm going to go and work on Littlehead. So, I have to write the entirety of Act 2 today, potentially work on it some tomorrow. I'd like to finish Act 2 today so that I can just do Act 3 tomorrow and have Sunday off. We're going to have to see. We're going to see. Let's go do this. Or who is guarding it? Yep, there's a nose page. Or how it is disguised. Say hi, everybody! Hey guys, so it is now nighttime. Today ended up not being a great day for footage. This afternoon, the girls were everywhere, and I was inside, and then I was outside, and I was on the floor, and then I was on the couch reading books while writing. So yeah, but I did end up getting all the way up to like the last scene before the midpoint or the halfway point of the novel this afternoon's writing sessions. A lot of them were very detailed scenes, which was very good. And then tonight I ended up getting all the way up to the Dark Night of the Soul scene, which is the last scene right before Act 3. So I am at the last, I almost want to say like the last fifth of the novels, what it feels like, because there's not, Act 3 is going to be very, very short compared to the rest of the book. but I'm up to that point now. So tomorrow I can wrap this thing up by wrapping up Act 3. This second half of the novel, so far, the scenes haven't been quite as fleshed out. Like, I've done a lot of clarification on where things take place, what order they take place in, and a lot of the details about the whys of what's happening. Like, I feel like the first half of the book needed the most details, and then there's a part of me that's just not as concerned about the second half. There were a couple of scenes that were very, very detailed, but the rest of it felt like I needed to wait. I wasn't worried about getting every little detail figured out because I knew that once I know what's happening in the rest of the story, once I've written other conversations, then I'll know more about what's actually being expressed in these newer conversations, what kind of emotional arcs are going on and being established. But I feel like I need to write the other conversations that come before them first, so that I'll know what needs to be written as I go forward. This happens a lot in my outlining where I'll end up accidentally, like, maybe either going too slowly with development of relationships, scene by scene, or too fast, or I skip a step, or I get repetitive and I don't realize that I'm being repetitive. And then as I write the actual draft, I kind of pick up on those things, and scene by scene, I change the outline to fit what really needs to happen. That's part of why I'm a plancer, I guess they call it. Anywho, really excited. Things are going very smoothly. I am already feeling so much better about knowing the characters, seeing their journeys, and seeing how everything is tying together. The pacing of the novel feels better. Part of the problem with the very first rough zero draft that I did last year was this feeling of monotony. It just felt like everything kind of was the same until we got to the climax. Because when I was looking at it, the world of Act 1 needed to look different than the world of Act 2. There needed to be some kind of differentiation, so we feel like even though we're staying in the same physical location, this one little area of the world, we're still going on a journey. Things are still changing and maybe improving, maybe getting worse, but we're changing things up as we move through the beats of the story, as the story progresses and we get closer to the climax. So that kind of helped. That helped a lot, knowing that the monotony would be broken up in that way, and then seeing it continue to be broken up throughout the rest of the book. If I finish up Act 3 tomorrow, I will be all set to start drafting on March 2nd, which is Monday. So, I will say that some life stuff is coming up over the next couple of months that will very definitely shake up my little writerly world that is finally shifting back to normal. This is my life. But hopefully after that, things will definitely go back to just normal. Until the baby gets here. It's life. Anywho, I'm going to go to bed now. Yeah, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully at the coffee shop. Hopefully finishing up Act 3. And then I'll be getting this video out to you guys. So yeah, see you tomorrow. Okay. I'm scared. This is a very precarious camera setup, so all right, let's see if it lasts. Okay, everybody, well, here we are at the end of this video, and I am proud to say that all of Littlehood has been outlined. Now, just to clarify, I ended up not going back and bullet pointing the last act of the book, Act 3. I decided that I wanted to kind of follow the trend. Sorry, I have a hairband on my hand. I wanted to follow the trend that I had kind of gotten into of letting some of the later parts of the book be a little bit less detailed, because I want to see how the first half of the book really plays out. So once I have written the first half, and maybe even the first 3/4, once I get up to that last act of the book, maybe I'll wait until I get right up to it. I plan to go back and do some bullet pointing and just make sure that I know where I'm going. But I'm not obsessed about it right now. I feel like I have good enough bullet pointing from the first act through the halfway point, and even most of the way through the second half of the second act, that I have a good foundation. So I can write the first part of the book, which is what I'm really probably the most concerned about, just getting into it. With pretty decent confidence. So that is all that I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the twists and turns of my outlining journey. This is definitely a work in progress, not just my book itself, but my process for
the beginning stages of writing a book. I'm constantly learning, things are constantly shifting, and whereas some books need way more attention to certain areas like character profiles or plotting, other books don't seem to need as much. So I'm still learning what works for each individual book or each individual series or each individual character, so on and so forth. One of the things I love about writing is that it's never the same 2 times in a row completely, but you can have a system of sorts that allows you to move forward with confidence. I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. It works for me. If you did enjoy it, make sure to click the like button and to subscribe on the way out, because I do post lots of writerly content. Sometimes it's vlogs like this. Sometimes it is more how-to style videos, which I got a bunch of those coming up with Snow Dust release coming up. And then, of course, release information, because Snow Dust is coming out later on this year. Little Hood will be coming out. So yeah, make sure to hit the notification bell so you'll know as soon as a video comes out. I love you all so much. I hope you have an amazing rest of the weekend writing. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.